we're back with another episode of Jiskyra Design and Collectibles, Art Inspires Art. And on today's episode, we're going to have Storytime pieces. Every last one of these pieces have a little story, and we're going to tell you that story. The beautiful winged woman, otherwise known as Ma'at, is an ancient Egyptian goddess of truth, justice, and harmony. As you can see, the feathers here, when you cross over, pass on, your heart is weighed to a feather on Ma'at scale, and that will determine where your afterlife is. Now, Osiris, he is another interesting character in the underworld. He was actually the god of the underworld. The legend goes that he had a brother named Seth who murdered him, and his wife Isis resurrected him and brought him back from the dead, which would, go into reincarnation, and had a son with him named Horus. Which leads us to the Eye of Horus, or a representation of it. Horus was very upset with his father being killed, so he decided to avenge his death with a series of battles with his uncle Set. He eventually won those battles and vanquished his uncle, but in the course of those battles, his eye was gouged out and then restored by Thoth. That restoration was a symbol of health, protection, and, of course, restoration. Now, lions are a representation of courage, power, loyalty, justice, strength, wisdom, pride, and authority. They were also yielded on Great Seal of King Richard. He had 3 lions on that as well. It was a show of battle. Now, Nefertiti was the queen of the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt. She and her husband were known for religious revolution, where they worshipped one god, Aten, or the sun disk, just like represented in that piece. They had a very fruitful period in Egypt. Now, the tree of life is closely regarded in different mythologies, religions, philosophies, traditions. It's closely related to the sacred tree, the tree of knowledge. It has connection to heaven and the underworld, because you have the roots that are tied to the underworld. You have the leaves that are closer to the heavens, and then you have the midpoint, which is, of course, earth. The tree of life also has connections and ties to us as a people, our psychological, our physical, our mental, our balance, which is represented in this piece. It looks like a person being tied to a tree, because we are technically tied to the tree. Without the tree, we can't breathe, and it also needs us to continue the cycle. That is the natural order of things. The enneagram is tied to the ancient language of Egypt. It also has very strong ties to the tree of life. It is considered the actual knowledge to all, the key to knowing everything. It is represented by 9-sided pieces, the triangle in the middle. a total representation of completion. As always, I've got another special friend that I'd like to show a lot of love to. She's come on our page. She's shown so much love to us, and we continued our relationship going forward. Please give her some love if you come across her on Instagram, and I'll go ahead and show her page now. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of Jiskyra Design and Collectibles, Art Inspires Art, and that little history lesson that we gave you. As always, if you see us online on any of the other social media sites, just give us a hi. We always show love, follow our sisters and brother sites, Shade Star Nation and See the Beauty. Thank you so much for subscribing.